Breaking news. UK artillery gap. The British Army is down to just 14 archers until the RCH 155 arrives. It is January 24, 2026, and the numbers are in, and they are, well, they're terrifyingly low. For everyone out there standing with Ukraine and European security, you need to stay ahead of the curve. Unsubscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Arya in the latest podcast by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover a gamble of massive proportions. We are looking at a British Army that has effectively, well, it's hollowed out its heavy artillery capabilities, all to support the war in Europe.
It's an incredible situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't see a major military power do this.
Today we are diving deep into this artillery gap. We're talking about the total transfer of every single AS-90 howitzer to Ukraine.
Every single one.
And we are talking about the tiny fleet of Swedish archers left behind to defend the entire United Kingdom. And then we're going to look at the future. A weapon system so advanced it sounds like something out of, a cyberpunk novel.
But one that's years away from actually arriving. And that really is the cliffhanger, isn't it? The UK has bet its national security on a prototype.
On a cannon that can fire 155mm shells while driving down the highway at 100 kilometers an hour.
But there's this huge geopolitical twist to it all. London is intentionally putting itself at the back of the queue so Kyiv can, so they can eat first.
It's a strategy that it makes you sweat when you look at the inventory lists, but it makes perfect sense when you look at a map of Europe.
It really does.
So let's unpack this. We keep seeing headlines about the gap, but it's January 2026. What is the actual situation on the ground right now?
It is bleak. I mean, if you're a fan of big guns, looking at the British inventory right now is a bit depressing.
So what are the numbers?
We finally got clarity. A Freedom of Information Act document just came out, and it confirms the transfer of all remaining UK AS-90 howitzers to Ukraine.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop you there. When you say all, are you talking about like the active fleet or the reserves too?
I mean, all of them. Every single operational gun. The cupboard is bare.
That is just wild. The AS-90 wasn't just some niche piece of kit. It was the sledgehammer.
Exactly. Since 1992, this was the backbone of any British armored division. The heavy hitter.
And how many did they have originally?
The UK started with 179 of these beasts. Over the years, that number drifted down. Budget cuts, attrition, you know how it goes. So by 2023, there were about 80 left.
And now?
As of today, zero. Zero operational units in British hands.
That's an entire capability just wiped off the book. It feels so drastic. Usually you keep a training fleet, right? A reserve. You don't just hand over the keys to the whole garage.
It is drastic, but you have to look at the context. And this is where that support for Ukraine becomes so tangible. These guns weren't sent to a scrapyard.
Right. They're on the front lines.
They're in the Donbass.
Yeah.
Right now. We have reports of specific Ukrainian units, the 58th Motorized Infantry Brigade, the 117th Brigade, using these exact guns to hold the line against Russian assaults.
So the argument is that the guns are doing what they were built for, fighting Russian armor just with Ukrainian crews.
Precisely. It's a concept they call forward defense. If you ask the Ministry of Defense, they'll tell you that one British gun destroying a Russian tank in Donetsk today is worth 10 British guns sitting in a shed in Wiltshire waiting for a theoretical fight in 5 years.
So it's a calculated risk.
A huge one. But the logic is that the UK is safer if Ukraine wins now.
I get the logic. It's the better now than later strategy. But it still leaves the British Army feeling a bit light. So if something happens elsewhere, what do we have? We bought those Swedish archers.
We did. And this is where the gap becomes very, very specific and frankly a bit comical if it wasn't so serious.
Okay.
We bought the Archer system. It was pitched as the interim solution.
And for anyone who hasn't seen an Archer, you really need to Google this thing. It does not look like a tank.
Not at all. It looks like a construction vehicle that got drafted into the army.
That's the perfect description. It's basically a massive Volvo articulated hauler, right? The kind you see in quarries.
Exactly. The ones that bend in the middle.
Yeah.
Just, paint it green and strap a massive automated 155mm cannon on the back. That is the Archer.
It sounds ridiculous, but from everything I've read, it's an incredible piece of engineering.
Oh, it's lethal. It's wheeled, not tracked, so it's incredibly fast on roads. It has this shoot and scoop capability.
What does that mean in practice?
It can stop, fire a volley of shells, and be driving away in under 30 seconds.
Wow.
It has a fully automated magazine, 21 rounds, and with Excalibur shells, it can hit targets 50 kilometers away with pinpoint accuracy.
Okay, so we've traded old slow tracks for fast, smart wheels. That sounds like a clear upgrade. So Where's the problem?
The problem isn't the quality, it's the quantity. This is where it gets really interesting and a bit worrying.
How many do we have?
14.
14. As in 1-4.
1-4.
14. I literally have more fingers and toes than the British Army has heavy artillery pieces.
It's barely enough to equip one regiment, the 1st Regiment Royal Horse Artillery. To put that in perspective for you,
Go on.
the Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, they estimate a credible armored division needs between 110 and 220 artillery pieces to be effective in a peer-to-peer war.
And the UK has 14.
14. It's a rounding error. It's a massive discrepancy. Defense experts are calling this ridiculously small. Some are saying the Army is currently unfit to fight any potential foe alone.
So if a full division had to deploy tomorrow,
They couldn't provide their own fire support. They'd
Yep.
be showing up to a gunfight, asking the Americans or the Poles for help.
okay, so we have a handful of super advanced Volvo dump trucks. Our old fleet is in Ukraine. But there is a plan. The government keeps talking about this mobile fires platform.
They do, and this is the long game. The chosen replacement is the RCH 155, the remote-controlled howitzer.
This is the sci-fi stuff. The RCH 155. It's built on the Boxer vehicle chassis, which is a good move since the UK is already buying those. But the turret is the real star.
It's the holy grail of modern artillery. It is the world's first howitzer that is fully certified to fire while moving.
I want to pause on that because I don't think people realize how insane that is from a physics perspective. You usually have to stop, dig in, lower stabilizers.
Right, it's a whole ritual.
This thing just shoots while driving.
It shoots while driving. Think about that. You're in a 40-ton vehicle driving over bumpy ground at, say, 30 kilometers an hour. You're vibrating. The wind is changing.
And your target is 40 kilometers away. If your barrel is off by a fraction of a degree because you hit a pothole, you'll miss by a kilometer.
Exactly. The RCH 155's computer calculates all of that in real time. The vehicle's movement, the suspension bounce, the wind, and it adjusts the turret to fire between the bumps.
That's an engineering miracle, but why do we need it? Is it just showing off?
No, it's about survival. On the modern battlefield, with all the drones and counter-battery radar, stopping to shoot means dying.
Because the enemy's radar spots you instantly.
Instantly. And you have incoming fire within 2 minutes. That detect to engage loop is terrifyingly fast now. The RCH 155 solves that. It fires a shell and just keeps driving. By the time the enemy calculates where the shot came from, you're 500 meters down the road.
It makes counter battery fire almost impossible.
Almost. And it's highly automated. It only needs a crew of 2, a commander and a driver.
Versus 5 or 6 for the old guns.
Right, and the range is incredible. Up to 54 kilometers with a VLAP ammunition, even 70 kilometers with Volcano shells.
So it's the perfect gun. And this isn't just a shopping trip, it's part of a bigger diplomatic play, isn't it? The Trinity House Agreement.
Yes, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's a massive shift. This is a joint project between the UK and Germany. It just signed a deal last month, December 2025.
And Rheinmetall is building a factory in the UK.
Yes, in Telford, a barrel factory. It creates jobs, sure, but strategically, it cements the British-German alliance. It ties our defense industries together. The UK isn't just a customer, it's a partner.
Okay, that all sounds great on paper. German engineering, British steel. But let's address the elephant in the room. We signed this deal in late 2025. When do we actually get these magic driving guns?
And that raises the most critical question. The contract signed last month is only for early capability demonstrator.
Or demonstrators, you mean? Prototypes.
Basically, yes. The first UK demonstrator isn't scheduled to arrive until the second quarter of 2028.
2028. That's 2 years from now, just for a test vehicle.
Correct, and full capability. The Ministry of Defense is using the phrase, this decade. Realistically, that means 2029 or 2030 before the Army has a meaningful number of them.
So let's just do the math. It's January 2026. Until 2029, at least, we are relying on those 14 Archers. That's a 3 to 4 year window of, well, extreme vulnerability.
It's the valley of death for the Royal Artillery.
Why is it taking so long? Is it manufacturing?
It's actually a matter of priority. And this goes right back to the core theme of this whole deep dive. The delay is because Ukraine comes first.
Ukraine is buying the RCH 155 too.
They're not just buying them, they are the first customer. They ordered 54 units. In fact, Germany just handed over the first RCH 155s to Ukraine for training this month.
Wow, so Kiev is getting the cutting-edge fire-on-the-move tech right now, while the British Army waits until 2028 for a demo model.
That's the reality. And it just reinforces the point that the British Army is accepting a huge gap in its own defenses to ensure the production lines feed Ukraine first. It is a strategic sacrifice.
It really is. They're betting that Ukraine using these weapons now is more valuable to UK security than UK troops training on them in peacetime.
And it creates this fascinating dynamic where the newest, most secret tech is being battle-tested in real time before the UK even touches it. By the time the British Army gets theirs in 2029, the Ukrainians will have written the manual on how to use them.
That's a great point. We'll be learning from them. But still, 2029 is a long way off. If we have almost no tube artillery, what do we have to cover the gap?
We do have a backup plan, and it's all about rockets. It's a shift toward what they call deep fires.
So the M270 multiple launch rocket system.
Yes, the UK is doubling down on that fleet. They're aiming for about 85 launchers, up from around 40, and they're upgrading them all to the A2 standard.
And what does A2 give us?
It's a complete overhaul, new engines, new armored cab. But crucially, it lets them fire the new generation of missiles. This is where the UK trades mass for precision.
We're talking about the Precision Strike Missile, the PRSM.
That's the big one. It has a range of 499 kilometers.
499 kilometers. That's not battlefield artillery anymore. That's a strategic strike weapon.
It absolutely is. And they're also getting the GMLRS extended range, which goes out to 150 kilometers, plus a UK-specific project for high-value targets.
So the whole doctrine is shifting. We're not firing thousands of cheap shells to suppress an area anymore.
No. We're firing one very expensive, very smart missile from 150 kilometers away to take out a single command post. They don't have the volume of fire, the mass, so they have to have the accuracy.
It sounds like a smart adaptation, but is it enough? Are we exposed?
There's a valid critique there. The House of Commons Defense Committee has warned about this hollow force. They have stated very plainly that the UK cannot currently field a warfighting division.
Hollow force, that's a chilling term.
It is. It means our dependency on the US and other NATO allies for the next 3 to 4 years is absolute. If the UK had to fight alone, they'd run out of everything in days.
But the counter-argument is that the main enemy is, well, it's pretty occupied right now.
Right, and if that enemy is being degraded by British AS-90s and German RCH 155s in Ukraine, isn't that better than those guns sitting in a depot?
It's the ultimate pragmatic play.
And there's another layer to this. With the RCH 155 and automation, we mentioned the crew of 2.
Right, a commander and a driver.
The British Army, like a lot of Western militaries, has a severe recruitment crisis. They physically do not have enough soldiers to man the old equipment.
So even if we had kept all the old AS-90s, we might not have had the crews to run them anyway.
Exactly. The shift to the RCH 155 isn't just about cool tech, it's about demographics. Automation is necessary because the manpower just isn't there anymore.
So let's just recap. The cupboards are bare, 14 archers. The old kit is fighting for freedom in Ukraine. The new kit is sci-fi level cool, but years away.
That sums it up perfectly. It's a period of maximum risk for a maximum future reward, and a massive reliance on Ukraine being the shield for everyone else.
So what does this all mean when you look at the big picture?
I think the UK has fundamentally changed how it views defense. The old strategy of hoarding weapons for a hypothetical World War III, that's gone. Now it's about supply chains, alliances with countries like Germany, and supporting the active fight.
It's a shift from just in case to just in time.
Exactly. And you have to ask yourself, is this shift to a wheeled, automated, low manpower army a brilliant adaptation to modern warfare? Or is it a dangerous gamble that leaves the UK exposed if this conflict spreads before 2030? Because if that happens, 14 guns won't hold the line.
That is the question that will define the next decade of defense policy, a gamble we will be watching very, very closely. You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. Before you go, make sure you don't miss an update on this developing story. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.